It wouldn't take a long time to notice you are very lonely in a SnowRunner. And not just that, there is no sign of life in this world either. But maybe that is about to change. Now, is that a good change to have in this game? Let's start with one of the first things that you notice when you start playing a SnowRunner. There is no traffic. In so many open world driving games, there is always traffic, but not in a SnowRunner. To be honest, I don't think AI traffic would work in a SnowRunner. It just so many things need to change in order to have AI traffic. I don't think it could be a good idea to have that, and I don't even think it would work. So AI traffic in a SnowRunner, I just don't think it would work. But I have one idea that could be extremely bad, but it's an idea. But I have this idea that could help the players and make the game a bit less lonely. I don't know you have played Elden Ring or Dark Souls, but in those games there are these like white shadows of other players in nearby areas. I'm not sure are those shadows live, like some other player is actually doing that in real time. I'm not sure about that. But some other player has done that or is doing it. And it is the shadow of another player. So maybe we could have the shadow of other trucks in our world of SnowRunner that other players have drove or are driving them, and they don't have any effect on our world. So they're not gonna get stuck in our world or change the mod or break the trees or things like that. And seeing these shadows might maybe help with the idea of having traffic in the game. But something else that they help with is the fact that, for example, if somebody tipped over at this area, you know that before you go there. So it could help you with making decisions too. I think this would work even more in expeditions and help a lot in that game. But seeing where trucks get stuck or tip over or things like that could help you with your decision making. But I think if such a thing was added to the game, I think it should be an option and you should be able to turn it off or on, because I don't know, I'm not sure if everybody like to see those. That's like the only thing that I could come up with, adding some type of traffic to the game without changing anything in that world. So no one's going to block you or no one's going to ruin your mod or break your trees or things like that. But you see other vehicles too. Now, the traffic was just ideas and everything like that. But even in a SnowRunner right now, we are seeing more signs of life. Couple of examples. The first NPC that we saw in the game, the dude in that bus station in the Almaty region. In that same region, we got some frogs too that jump around. Very basic. Usually they just appear and jump into the ground. Very basic, but it's cool. I like to see those. And in the newest region, Austria region, we saw some horses. These are not very significant things. A dude sipping his coffee and a couple of frogs and horses are not that big of a deal, but they could be a start of a big thing. And that big thing is having NPCs and animals in the game. I think having some pedestrians and NPCs in the game would really help with the feeling that you get from playing SnowRunner. For example, in American Truck Sim, we have some pedestrians and NPCs around the map. They're not doing something big and they are not that important. You see them for 5 seconds and you're gone. But seeing them is just a good thing. It makes you think that you're actually in a real world and you're delivering this cargo for some people. There are actually people who are using them. And the NPCs in American Truck Sim are not insanely complicated either. There are sometimes these guards and they have a very basic animation. They're not doing much. But seeing a security guy when you enter an area is nice, is not bad. I like it. And I think we could have the same in a SnowRunner too. Like that NPC guy who was sipping his coffee, we could have a couple of security guards. Maybe we could have this farmer guy sitting next to this farm field. Things like that. Very simple things. But they help you believe that this is a real world. I know in so many regions in a SnowRunner, something bad happened, like maybe a tornado or something. But I believe still humans exist in that world, because if no one's left to live on planet Earth, then why are we like fixing that bridge or fixing that factory or something? And that's another thing. Factories are giving you products, so someone should be there to at least take care of the factory and the product and things like that. So it makes sense to have some NPCs in the game. And the idea of having NPCs, started with the coffee guy. And having animals in the game is not necessary, but it's always nice to have animals. Now, I think the developers added the coffee guy, the NPC, and a couple of animals to test things out. Maybe because in future games, we could get more of those. Now, something else that is coming more and more to life is the environment and the maps. First one is the breakable stone and asphalt that we got in Almaty region and Austria. Seeing the fact that your actions and where you drive leaves a unique mark is very cool. In a SnowRunner, if you don't leave a map, all the things that you do in that map are going to remain the same. So tire marks or the trees that you broke, all of them would remain the same until you close the game or go to another map. But for many regions, it was just the tire marks and things like that, except for the breakable ice. Until the breakable stone and asphalt in the newer regions. Seeing that happen was really awesome. Now, the next thing is adding these little things and changing the existing things a bit. One of the things that was changed, it was a very small change, was these road barricades. Now the lights on those barricades actually work and they blink. Another thing is these tube mans that we saw around the map in Austria region. The thing is, these small things that was added to the game, on their own, they're not that significant, but enough of these small things make the game feel more alive. And the last thing that I want to mention is the buildings in Austria. The buildings were very different. In so many regions, doesn't matter it was Canada or United States or Central Asia, the buildings were the same. So it doesn't make sense to see the same type of buildings everywhere on this planet. Like, I think you can find the same warehouses in so many different regions. But in Austria, things were very different. You could really feel that you're in a new, unique region. So it wasn't like, alright, you're in a new region, but the same things, the same pieces are in this region too, but they are in a different place. All these things and all these changes makes me excited for the future of SnowRunner and the future games. I feel like so many of the small things that was added recently to the game could be a really big thing in future games. So I don't think a SnowRunner would ever get out of this ghost town, or I don't think the world of a SnowRunner would get really alive. But with them testing a bunch of things in a SnowRunner, that could happen in the future games. And I just really love that idea. That's it for today's video. I see you in the next one.